The research I have chosen to discuss for this presentation examines the potential association between diet and a broad spectrum of cancers. Currently, the Western diet, consisting heavily of meat, has been linked to a series of costly and deadly diseases such as cancer. Cancer is the leading cause of death worldwide and the second leading cause of death in the United States, exceeded only by heart disease. The American Cancer Society estimates that more than 15.5 million Americans currently having cancer and about 1.7 million new cases are expected to be diagnosed in 2018 alone. What's even more shocking is that it has been estimated that over half of these cancer cases could have been prevented through diet and nutrition. For this prospective cohort study, the authors have chosen to utilize the Adventist Health Study 2 to generalize their findings. What makes the Adventists so unique is that they comprise of a study population with a large range of dietary habits. This provides rare opportunity for investigating dietary determinants of cancer. The Adventist lifestyle not only has a wide variety of dietary habits, but a very low percentage of alcohol consumption or cigarette smoking, which reduces the possibility of confounding by these non-dietary factors. Most participants in this study are either Caucasian or Black African American, although there are smaller numbers from other ethnic minorities. The study sample size consists of over 96,000 participants who have been categorized for simplicity by those who attend a predominantly Black or non-Black Adventist church. 24,298 of the participants who returned the lengthy questionnaire come from prominent Black churches, and 71,865 participants are from non-Black churches. Eligible Adventists who filled out the lengthy questionnaire were recruited for this study. A total of 1 million Adventists from 4,500 congregations in the USA and Canada were potential candidates. Of these congregations, it was estimated that 350,000 church attendees were 30 plus years of age and fluent in English. There were an estimated 90,000 eligible participants from Black churches and 260,000 eligible participants from non-Black churches after the exclusion criteria was implemented. 46,496 Black church participants requested and received the lifestyle questionnaire, of which 24,298 returned for this study. 114,505 non-Black church participants requested and received the lifestyle questionnaire, of which 71,865 returned for this study. The requirements for the study were simple. Those who are Adventist church members aged 30 years or more were allowed to participate in this study. Those who are non-Adventist church members and under the age of 30 were disqualified from participating. The study performed quite a few statistical analyses, both univariate and multivariate. Univariate analysis was conducted initially to evaluate the association between individual potential predictor factors and the overall cancer incidence. Multivariate Cox regression models were developed to estimate cancer HRs and 95% confidence intervals. The final model included the basic model plus paternal and/or maternal family history of cancer, smoking habits, alcohol intake, and female variables such as age, menarche, pregnancies, menopausal status, use of hormone replacement therapy, and oral contraceptives. Cox proportional hazards multivariable analyses were developed for the incidence of overall cancers and specific cancers according to the selected anatomic systems. Sex-specific analyses were conducted for the overall cancer incidence analyses as necessary. Dietary patterns were assessed as both specific dietary patterns such as non-vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian, pesco-vegetarian, semi-vegetarian, and lastly vegan, or in other analysis as just vegetarian or non-vegetarian. The results of the study were pretty extensive, so I've decided to break them up into sections for review. The first set of results the study covered was the baseline characteristics. The average follow-up time was 4.14 years, in which the study identified 2,939 cases of cancer in both men and women. The median age of the cancer diagnosis in this population was roughly 59 years of age. Cancer cases were older and were more likely to have a positive family history of cancer. A higher proportion of men than women developed incident cancer. Cases also tended to have a higher BMI, less education, were less physically active, had slightly less frequent consumption of alcohol, but more commonly and most importantly had a history of smoking. The results for the participants' dietary patterns were as followed. Large differences were observed in BMI, with non-vegetarians having higher BMI, with a mean of 28.6 kilograms, than all vegetarian groups, with a mean at 25.8 kilograms. And vegans had the lowest proportion of overweight and obese participants. The mean BMI observed among the specific vegetarian groups were 24 kilograms for vegans, 25.9 kilograms for lacto-vegetarians, 26.12 kilograms for pesco-vegetarians, and 27.1 kilograms for semi-vegetarians. Non-vegetarians were more likely to have ever consumed alcohol or smoked cigarettes, and lacto-ovo-vegetarians were the least likely. The results for multivariate dietary patterns and cancer incidence showed, with overall cancer risk, only vegan diet showed a statistically significant protective association, with the p-value equaling 0.03 when both sexes are combined. Multivariate analysis for cancers of different anatomic systems showed a protective association between vegetarians and cancer of the gastrointestinal tract. Further analysis showed that this protection was statistically significant in lacto-vegetarians. A statistically significant protection association was observed for those who adhered to vegan diets exclusively. Pesco-vegetarian diet showed a decreased point estimate for the risk of cancer of the respiratory tract, however, no statistical significance was associated. The authors concluded that vegan diets may be associated with a decrease in the incidence of all cancers combined, and specifically the risk of female-specific cancers when compared with non-vegetarians. Vegetarians, mainly lacto-ovo-vegetarians, as a combined group have lower risk of all cancers and gastrointestinal cancers when compared to meat eaters. Lacto-ovo-vegetarians compared with meat eaters are inversely associated with the development of cancers of the gastrointestinal system. It's important to note that there was no statistically significant associations between dietary patterns and cancers of the respiratory tract, urinary tract, and male cancers were observed. It is also important to note that non-vegetarian reference group in AHS2 did not consume a large amount of meat. Thus, if diets mainly based on animal products provide an adverse effect, it is possible that the relatively low animal product intake of the non-vegetarians in this cohort could result in smaller observed effects. As a vegan myself, the results of the study were similar to other research I've seen on this topic. Not only has veganism shown to lower BMI, as seen in this study, but a lower BMI leads to a decrease in cancer incidence. Vegan diets are typically high in soy foods. It was noted in the study that soy foods in particular are rich in phytoestrogens, which have been hypothesized to reduce breast cancer risk. This information wasn't astounding, as higher BMIs, seen more commonly in non-vegetarians, have been linked to a series of diseases, especially cancer. The authors did not disclose any conflicts of interest in this study. I would say the study did a great job of considering co-founders such as smoking, drinking, diet, BMI, gender, and education level. While the study minimized bias in the collection of data, recall of an individual's diet over the course of 24 hours could have been underestimated, although the study usually biased the results toward the null. I think the study did understate their findings due to the sample population's diet, which the study did mention. I would argue that the Adventist population was not representative of the United States and Canada's diet, primarily because of their conservative lifestyle choices. The population minimally, if at all, consumed alcohol or smoked cigarettes, and the non-vegetarians consumed a minimal amount of meat in their diets. If the sample population was different, the findings would most likely be exaggerated and more statistically significant. I would say the main takeaway is that they did find statistical significance with this extremely conservative population sample. Considering the variables, it would be challenging to find a more appropriate sample population for this type of study. The prospective cohort study is the most ideal study design, since they had to follow up over time to observe cancer incidence.